Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad and Supercoach Pro. Today's video we're doing a round 14 Supercoach AFL preview. There has been a game obviously last night. There was Richmond and Carlton that played. Not too much to talk about with that game, apart from my VC failing, which was actually Paddy Cripps. Thought he actually deserved a lot more than 79. But so the season rank at the moment is 1370. Hoping to get in the top 1,000 this week, and I think with the changes I made, I can do that. I'll make it a pretty quick one. Basically, what I've done, as you can see in my undo changes, I've got rid of Maxi Gorn there. Syndesmosis, could be between 3 to 5 weeks. It's probably majority of the season. We've only got about 9 rounds left. He's 600,000, so it's not like he's not worth something in terms of getting in primos, and it depends what you get in. It really makes it worth it. So for me, as you can see, I've buggered off McDonald. He scored that 24 playing on Toby Green. Was averaging around 95 or somewhere about that in the back line as a D7, which is kind of pointless now that Ambrosio, however you say his name, the Essendon player, the mid-season rookie, I think he had about 30-something touches in the VFL. They've put him straight there. They're playing in the same side as Nick Hind, same sort of role. I think he actually takes Cutler's spot. So, interesting to see how he goes. I didn't choose him over Durden because I thought he's got a more friendly role off the halfback flank. Durden's sort of a lockdown player. And Durden ended up getting injured. So, this bloke was 20k cheaper. So, kind of really needed that. So that was the thought behind that. And then, bringing Rory Laird and Mills are absolute pods. I think they're both in under 10% of sides. So had to really make some ground on the opposition, and that was the go, really. Greg Clark is named as an emergency and didn't want to kill his cash generation. So that made the most sense for me. I'm doing those sort of trades. So I'll just exit that, obviously, so you can actually see how the side looks. After the buys, we'll be running Stuart Dawson, Doc, Short, Sicily Crisp, which is looking really nice the last 2 weeks, having Doc in, scoring 139 the week before, now 128. So hopefully that's the better option than the Sinclair or Stewart for the rest of the year. So far, he's averaging me 130-something since I bought him in, so that's perfect trade. And midfield's looked capped off now with Laird, Mills, McRae, Miller, Cripps, Green, Oliver, and Neal. So I've probably got two really weak M7, M8, which most people will have, someone like Petrarca or something like that they're carrying as well. So I kind of feel like it evens itself out. But I've got two genuine captain options. That was the other thing. I was looking at players like Ben Keys, but can you really captain a player like Keys or even VC in him, where these guys... Rory Laird's more of a captain option, and then Mills a massive scorer, so he's a really good VC option, and I don't really have that sort of in my side apart from the Took sort of train, so that's why I didn't grab Wits or potentially English. They are good options as VCC, but I'm more confident in some pods. I think English is owned by about 30%, so is Wits. So I need some pods in the last 8 or 9 rounds to really get me up in the field. So that's the thought behind it. Cameron was a little bit useless in the forward line. I felt like bringing him in, he had to do a job at some point. And putting him in the ruck sort of justifies why I brought him in for 450k. He's scoring well enough. And then, I'll have Darcy and Cameron in here. Teakle for cover if Darcy's missing for a week, which is fine. Going forward, the forward line looks pretty good too. Brody will obviously be there for Roses. So really, I'll actually have Roses and DeGoey as cover. And then on my bench in the midfield will be Hamilton, Owens, Carroll. So I can actually probably flick DeGoey into the midfield and have Hamilton and Roses as forward bench cover, which is actually pretty decent. There's my cat for you. That's really random. I thought I'd do the preview now. So at least it's 6 hours before the bounce instead of the 5 p.m. Sort of thing, because the team names shouldn't really vary my side unless Clark is named and actually playing instead of a sub-risk. Then I might do something slightly different. But there was also no point on chopping Carroll, considering I feel like Owens will get his spot back next week when he's back from concussion, and the Hamilton's a likely sub. So Carroll had to be my dead rookie loophole for the season. You had to have somebody. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise sort of situation where if you're running a full team and you haven't started off with a loophole, loopholes always come and go. So I always thought it's pretty irrelevant having a loophole in your side, regardless of the DPP flexibility. I think it's just a waste of cash generation, which now you're starting to see sides not be able to have any rookies to cull, so actually sidewaysing primos. Like, I could sideways DeGoey, but I'd rather have DeGoey and Roses on my bench covering that midfield when DeGoey goes up here than playing, who do I got? Owens or someone like that playing. Not a lot of people have good bench this time of year. So if you can come out with one decent swing player, being an M9, F7, DeGoey's only averaging 86, but it's better than a rookie who can score you 30. DeGoey as well scores 60, and I'm playing for a contract, so I'm hoping he actually sort of does what he did this time last year and went on a real heater. So I've got the faith in him, and I actually won't have to make any trades after this week. So I have 6 trades left, and I'll only be injury trades. And yeah, I can leave my team as that. Darcy's still a nice pod for me, hence why I didn't go Wits or English there. He's in 6% of his side, so I'm hoping that's a move that works out long run. And then you've got Mills in 14% of the team sides without Boak there tonight. I think he'll run riot for tomorrow, I should say. And then Laird has a really easy fixture in 9% of sides too. So I'm hoping they're the 3 players that really get me back up into the top 1K. I haven't been there this year. I mean, all last year I was pretty much in that top 1K if you go back to the videos. And we're even hoping sort of Shrek turns it around too. I know Eno has him too, and I think a lot of people will sort of be grabbing him for Gorn this week, which is not a bad play. I don't think you should bring Nankervis in because Richmond, we really play 2 ruckmen depending on opposition. So Soldo might come back next week, depending what the ruck lineups are. So, and Nank hasn't had the greatest history of actually scoring well, and injury history in the last year or two hasn't been fantastic. So I'd rather bring in someone like Sean Darcy that can sort of have a really high ceiling to make up for his low floor. That's the reason I picked Shrek about a month ago now, and he has given me a mixed bag. So hopefully he can go well from here on out, and the rest gives him some sort of break. I might just have a quick look at some players. Have a look at trade outs. So Gorn, you probably got to get off him. Round 17 and 19 he comes back. So what's the point of having him for a month? You got the trades there, just use him. Even if it leaves you with 4 trades, I'll just get rid of him because he might not even play that well. He might be rested forward until finals. So, and then Hayes, cut him. That makes sense. Horn Francis, you got to. He's suspended for 2 weeks. Morris Shirley, he might actually play next week because Bolter's done a hammy. So might do some shuffling here. Might actually play. Not that it matters now. McConnor you have to get rid of. Bailey Smith's a good one to get rid of too. Not back till round 18. I'd hold Dacos for any Dacos owners. His break even is actually 8, so he's still got amazing cash to make. He's also good cover. But I do reckon you've actually got to cut these rookies at some point. You've got to get rid of your, what do you call it? Oh, who's that? McCartan and players like that and DeConning and just get a fallen primo for them instead of keeping them all year. I'd get, someone that's had a concussion early rounds and actually a player you take away that score, they're averaging 90-something and holding a McCartan or something like that. I get it's handy for swing, but there's something about rookies I just can't hold on for the rest of the year when they've made you 300 or 400k and you can sideways and have a really decent D7 that could be really vital, especially if you've got a 1 or 2 week injury and you've got 4 trades left and you've got a really handy D7, M9, F7, etc. It's handy to have those sort of players in the bank instead of having a rookie. And Petrarca, I think he's actually going to be a good pickup later on. Like his break-even's 119. Parrish I wouldn't have got rid of. It's only going to be a week or 2, they're saying. But Petrarca looks great value. You can wait a week. He plays Brisbane coming up. I would not be trading him. 35% of teams anyway. One of these was COVID effective or whatever. He was still pretty sick. So I actually think he's a really decent value pick for that range. It's better than your Tom Mitchells and players like that. So yeah. Anyway, that's my team going into the rounds. If you guys got any questions into captaincy, vice captain, whatnot, let me know your trade plans and what you plan on doing. I'd love to know if you got anything a bit left field. Chuck them in the comments below, and I'll answer before the bounce, obviously. And yeah, even Saturday, I have a sneaky look to see if anyone's wrote a message. Anyway, hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Stay safe out there, and hope your team wins. Go Tigers from last night. Finally got up on Carlton again, so that's nice to do that. And yeah, go Bolton.